I looked at the podcasts, the business podcasts, to see who I could pitch to be on their show. And it was all men, white men, young white men. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. But if you're, and I mean, I was young at the time, but like I did notice that their guest list was like all of themselves. So like this person would be on this show and this would be on this show. And it was either that or Tim Ferriss. They were all sort of like interviewing one another. And I thought, well, they're never going to have me on because I'm just like a girl. I mean, I'm humorous, of course, but I'm not well known enough for them to choose me, especially if they're just choosing each other over and over. So I started my own women's interview show. At the time, it was called Lady Business Radio, and I named it that for a bunch of reasons, but mostly because Lady Business can cover a lot of stuff, everything personal, everything businessy. I could go anywhere with it and it would be safe. So I did that for about a year and a half. And then to make a very long story short, I went to a conference where all these gentlemen were, hoping to grow my show at the time. Once I had it started, ambition takes over again, and I want it to grow and take over the world. So I go to a media conference where these gentlemen are there, and I find that their advice, when questioned, when I meet them, is not helpful. I mean, just to, for lack of a better term, it just wasn't helpful, right? Like I say, how do I grow my show? And the guy says, well, how long is your show? And I say an hour. And he says, well, cut it in half, make it 2 episodes, you double your downloads. I was like, no, because it's the same listeners though. I don't want the same people listening twice. I want double. That seemed obvious to me. Right. So I was just like, this is, or it would be like, well, I mean, when you ask a man, how do you tell someone you don't want them on your show? They look at you like you're from Mars, right? But women don't just go, no, thanks. We're all set. Like we don't do that. We're hardwired to care about, the community and keeping relationships alive and stuff like that. So women need different strategy for, having boundaries, and being polite, but still getting the things that they need and want in life. So I came back from that conference. I started a group called Women Who Podcast.